What I'm doing here is flushing some fuel through the ports in the head. Now that I've changed the injectors out, I want to clean the fuel passages out just to get any lint or little debris or a little bit of oil or something, anything out of there that might clog the injectors, just to give myself the best chance for success. So this little elbow piece right here is the fuel pressure regulator, and it connects to this port right in the back of the head here. And I've removed it, and I've put this adapter on here with the hose to take the fuel away. And I've reconnected this onto this line right here, which is the return line. If you don't have this connected on the return line, fuel will come pouring out of here, and I'll show you why. Here I'm using this little air nozzle adapter on my gas tank to put a little pressure, just 10 pounds of pressure in the tank to push the fuel up into the engine. You don't have to have this adapter here. You could just take the cap off, hold a rag in there with a air nozzle, and just put a few psi of air in there. And so that's why the return line is hooked up. If the return line wasn't hooked up, the fuel level would rise up and come out of that return line, and I want it to go up into the engine. So here's my drain line coming out. I have a little clear tube so I can tell when there's fuel coming through, and I have a container here. I've pumped almost 1 gallon of fuel through there. When I did, some oil came through and some other fluid, you know, from when I was installing the injectors, and now I'm going to pump maybe a whole nother gallon through. I thought I would be able to use this air chuck to put some air pressure on there and push fluid through the whole system. But as it turns out, that's not what happened. It ends up I have to pump this hand pump a little bit to make the fuel move through, and that's fine. So once I push the air out and get the fuel up to this pump here, I can pump the fuel through. It wouldn't create a vacuum and push the fuel without the air pressure in the tank, because it just kept sucking air in and out of the head because the check valve is disconnected. So push the fuel up there, pump that pump, and then the fuel flows right down into my waste container. Now I'm going to flush out about another gallon of filtered fuel through there to carry away any debris. And as I'm adding a little pressure to here, I can notice right under there is a vent hole. I hold my finger over it so that it builds up a little pressure. That's how I pressurize that. I can go up and start pumping. Didn't take much. Now I'm going to pump about another gallon through, just right back into the tank. All right. Worth doing, I think. All right, so I connected this back up. To attach this pressure valve, loosen this nut up, thread this block into the head, when it's pointing in the right direction, hold this square part with a wrench and then tighten this nut against the head. And then attach this, in the process. But the trick is first thread this into the head and then tighten this nut against the head while holding this with a wrench. Then I cleaned it off. 3 pumps of that little hand pump and the thing was pressurized. I just wanted to check it for any leaks. Looks like I'm good to go.